Welcome to Content Camp.
Hello, everybody. Indeed, welcome to another edition of Content Camp. Today we have Mr. Patton, Mr. McGovern, and Mr. Lehner. We brought these three amazing people on the show today to talk about networking and really the whole art of networking and how it works. So, Mr. McGovern, I'd like to start with you. What do you think, what's the definition of networking to you?
Networking provides value to the individual requesting it and as the one that's receiving it too. So when you're networking, be sure that you can offer some type of value to the person that you're engaging with. And that's done by listening intently and asking really good questions and being curious.
Hmm.
How'd I do, Tony?
Yeah, 2 thumbs up.
Thank you.
It's fun. Yeah, I hadn't really. That's an interesting place to start because I hadn't really thought about this idea of bringing value. But that is super, super key. And just for you kids, I think in general, what we try to do as networkers, what you're kind of trying to do is you are increasing your own value by knowing a lot of, the right types of people.
So it's
So
like investments, kind of. It's like investing.
there you go. Very, very much so. Very much so, I think.
Do Mr. Patton or Mr. Lehner, do you guys have anything you want to add on to the definition that
Well,
would be?
to me, that networking is the activity you do to build a network. And I think in my experience, too many people get hung up on the idea of the act of just the activity of networking. You say, well, I'm going to go out networking, and networking to them is, how many business cards can I shuck out in an hour and a half? And how many business cards can I collect in an hour and a half? As opposed to, going someplace to meet a few people that then you can use that just as the initial introduction to that person. So then you follow up the networking event and assume it's an event, to do the real heavy lifting of building the relationship so that person becomes a part of your network. That then, as TJ said, now is very appropriate. Then you can mutually add value to each other, because that's really what it's all about, is to increase. Well, there's an organization, and I think Ivan Meisner stole this from somebody else, probably, that Business Networking International, that it's all about giver's gain, which is exactly what TJ described, and adding value to the other folks in your network.
And, from experience, you can tell who's in your network if they return your phone call or email promptly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the ways that you add value to other people is, and I think this is one that I've found valuable over the years, is just, somebody, so you find out that somebody needs to know somebody else who is in your network, and you can get those two linked in. So then the whole thing just goes kind of out like that.
Jim's talking about the degrees of Kevin Bacon, which are 2 here in Indianapolis.
Yeah, that's about right, TJ. I have more people. I can't tell how many people I've run into who've come to Indianapolis from someplace else, and they are just amazed at how connected Indianapolis is. I had a friend a couple of years ago, and she's since gotten a real job and moved on, who is with a company called Now CFO, and which does, part-time chief financial officer work with businesses. She'd moved here from Nashville to take over the territory, and she was amazed at how, everybody she talked to knew somebody who she needed to know. And that's right. It's about 2, maybe 3 degrees of separation.
So it's like investing and then like a family tree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so, Landon.
And you can't expect to go into a networking group and just get referrals for yourself. You have to be willing to think of who is in your network that these people don't know that they might that you
Yeah.
could possibly put them in connection with. Maybe they're looking for a certain type of client and you know someone in that industry. Um, you have to be willing to give, as Mr. Patton said about you have to give referrals in order to get referrals, so people know you're genuine and you're not just in it for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Well,
lang
and oh, go ahead, TJ.
the language, John, there would be reciprocity is an important
Exactly.
element
Yeah. Yeah.
of networking.
Well, and I was going to go. There's something that I think you got to a place that I was hoping we'd get to sooner or later, John. That I think another pitfall I have seen a lot of people fall into over the years. And again, I'm assuming we're going to be talking about business networking. Um, is they'll go to a networking event, expecting to go find a room full of potential customers. Um, and that's prospecting. That's not networking.
Yes.
But as John said, what you're really looking for is, who are people that um, can 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 lead me to customers. For instance, I'm in financial services and do retirement planning. So when I go to a networking event, I may be looking for estate planning attorneys, um, who are people who work with the same clients that I do, and we can add value to each other by referring our clients to each other,
Mhm.
as opposed to just saying, "Well, how many people here need a retirement plan? Let me go see. Let me go hunt them down and tell them all about my wonderful retirement plans," and that'll just turn them off, and um, you won't ever see them again.
Yeah, here's a concept that I've tried to I guess plant a seed in a way with Lewis. For these kids, kids in America, can't. These guys are of an age, I think all of them, they can't work yet. You can't really start earning money. But it occurs to me that a kid can actually start building their wealth today, and who is actually that's a form of wealth. Maybe that's a super important form of wealth. And I think it would be surprising to a lot of kids to really understand the people you're meeting now, especially assuming you stay, in our case, in the Indianapolis community. The kids you're growing up with, those are current and future contacts that you'll be amazed to see just how many times your paths will cross over the years.
I guess one other form of networking, yeah, I'm thinking more of it from the youth perspective is, and Tony, you're kind of touching on this a little bit, is you may not be able to bring a lot to the table now, but by going out, let's say if your school has guest speakers, I'm going to use an example from when I was at Butler. Pepsi came on campus to talk because there was some big controversy on the other side of the world, and they brought in the local Pepsi person to speak to the students and to kind of calm some nerves. Anyway, after I sided with Pepsi on this whole thing, but I went down and a couple of us went to talk to the local executive just to kind of share our thoughts more in a one-on-one matter. And we kind of agreed with that person, and he gave us his card and was like, please reach out if you ever have any needs. And so a few months down the road, I reached out to him just saying, hey, I'm looking for a possible interview. I just wanted to see if they had any spots available. And he remembered me. And it was kind of nice to be able to make that contact and reach out to him and be able to he could relate, be like, oh yeah, I met you at Butler when you were there, and so just building a network that way from looking for future jobs down the road.
Yeah.
John, are you currently with Pepsi now?
Oh no, I'm in the
Oh,
banking
okay.
industry.
Okay. I mean, I put myself through undergrad working for Pepsi in the Chicagoland area, but
Gotcha.
I want to key off something that Tony said. I didn't come up with it, but I read a lot and it stuck in my memory. And the encapsulated way to say it was your net worth is directly tied to your network. There's a correlation between those two,
For
and
sure.
Yeah.
that has been my experience.
Well, and let me just try this one for you guys. Uh, I think putting it on taking some of the business stuff out of it, because I think the title with this is The Power of Making Friends or something like that, wasn't it?
Yes.
That that's a great way just to make friends, and it's it's been a long day. It's been a long time since I've been in the same position that you guys are in, but yeah, it might be for you guys the way you go out and you look at, what are some, let's just say, clubs I could join where I would find like-minded people where I could go to get to know them to establish some deep relationships with the people that I meet going to those clubs. Um, and then all of a sudden, maybe 2 or 3 years from now, you all find yourselves going to college, and all of a sudden you know that three of those people that you knew in those clubs are also going to college, and you can then get reconnected there and build yourself a little, because I remember when I went to college, it was a it was not a pretty sight because I was no more socially prepared to go to college than the man in the moon. Um,
Same
you,
here, Jim.
you yeah, maybe that's why it took me 5 years to go through the 4-year program. Uh, but you then would have a little, it make that transition easier because you had those 3 or 4 close friends that you made, and at this point in your life, that you could be kind of a support network for each other as you all made that transition into college. Um,
Sorry.
Go ahead, Lou.
Did all of you start networking by the time you were in college, or when did you really catch on or start networking, I should say?
I think to a certain extent, I was doing it all along. I just didn't know I was doing it. Um, but I tell you, I really didn't start networking until probably
Last week,
15,
right, Jim?
15, yeah, 15, 20 years ago. And I remembered the first networking event I went to was an indie chamber networking event. And I was going to go in and God, I'm going to throw out 2 cards. I'm going to get out of here because I'm terrified. Uh, because because remember, it is networking. Uh, it's not net eating, it's not net drinking, it's networking. So you've also got to be really intentional about the way you go about doing it.
So I was wondering, so what what's your main goal when you network? Is it to find people that can help you in your business, or to find people that you can help in theirs.
I I
Yes.
I think yeah. I think to me, I have a goal and I try and go out to networking events. Now, a lot of times you will know a few people there. It's good to kind of reconnect with them. And it's very easy to just stick with these people throughout the entire event. But you're also not expanding your network either. So my goal is to try and meet 2 or 3 new people. I don't want to meet 10 because you know what? I'm not really going to remember everyone, remember every conversation. But if I could have 2 or 3 really good conversations, and maybe if there's interest between those two or three, maybe if I could set one meeting for another time down the road to maybe have coffee or lunch with them. Um, where we really click. To me, that's my goal. You can't go out there expecting to meet everyone, but if you can make a really 1 or 2 really good connections per meeting, to me that's what I target.
Yeah, I'd second that. And the other question, the other part of your question was really really interesting, Landon, because I think a lot of people default to, I want to find people who can add value to me. I'm looking for somebody who can give me customers. Um, and I think what happens with those folks is they get seen through very quickly. Because as TJ said, right out of the gate, it's got to be in order for it to get any legs, it's got to be something where the other person, you can add value to the other person, and the other person can add value to you. And if 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 it, for instance, I was at a networking event years ago, back when the Earth was cooling, and uh, I met a I met a guy, and another person who is a good friend of mine met the same guy, and we had scheduled one-to-one meetings after the networking event with this same guy, and she happened to have hers the week before I was meeting with this guy, and I get a call from her. He says, "Jim, I just want to give you a heads up. In our hour meeting, this guy talked at least 55 minutes about his business and what I could do for him. And I got to talk about 5." And I says, "Cindy, thanks for the heads up." And it was exactly the same thing when I met with the guy.
Mm.
Those folks, those folks quickly get um, a little circle around them that folks, nobody's going to come within 3 feet of them at any other networking event.
Yeah, for sure.
Here's a little handle, particularly for the young men on this call that has served me well. If the focus of this, as I understand it, is friendship. So um friendship is oh God, it just flew out of my mind. Time, care, reciprocity, and you go round and round and round.
Hmm.
You go. There's no end to it. It's just a complete circle.
Yep.
Time, friendship, care, reciprocity, and you go round and round. That's a good
Yeah.
formula, and you can make it your own. But that served me well thus far.
Yeah. Yeah. That's well said, TJ. I think it's about just looking for people you enjoy and want to hang out with. And
Yes. Amen to that, Jim. Yeah, that was one of my big thoughts, just kind of as our conversation progresses. I really I love networking because I love hanging around with great people, and that's, you every once in a while you find someone who's just not your cup of tea, as you said, maybe they're just totally into themselves. Something's off balance. That's fine. That's kind of interesting to me as well. But I move on. But as I build my network, I just find it to be so enjoyable.
yeah.
Lots of nice people.
Yeah. Well, and I heard I facilitate a Sunday evening Bible study on Zoom for our church, and we had a woman who had just come into the thing, and she was talking about how um, she's obviously older than you guys, obviously, and her husband had passed away, and she was looking for ways to kind of get back out after that. And she says she liked hiking, so she joined the Indianapolis Hiking Club, and that's networking
It
for
is.
sure. And she says she's met so many friends just by doing that.
Mhm.
Um, that they all had that common thread that they liked hiking, and they just had gotten to know each other and deepen the relationships while they were out on the group hikes.
Yeah, and this sort of thing just leads to a happy life, don't you guys think?
Yes,
Like it's not all about business networking. It's about kind of exploring the world, exploring other interests. And it is amazing how one can make friends. Like if you're pursuing a hobby, it's you can make a bunch of friends who are also into that hobby, and it can lead to a very rich life, I think.
yeah.
Mhm.
And I think another thing, and you can't force it.
Yeah,
Um, you've just got to let it develop. You've got to put the time,
Gotta
and
let
kind
him
of go into
out.
what TJ said.
Let Winston out.
You've
yeah,
got to put the time and effort into it, and just let it develop organically.
agreed, agreed. I think something interesting, like so, these kids wouldn't necessarily know this, although before you guys came on, we chatted briefly about how I know all of you. But for each one of you guys, we have several, experiences. Jim, how you and I have had breakfast, the coffees, number of times. We've had lots of nice visits. Um, John and I have played poker together many, many times, for example, coffees. TJ and I went to high school. There's some memories, went to high
Yeah,
school together. And there is, there's something I don't maybe call it karma or something. I find that just as you go through life, just trying to be a good person and a positive person and enjoy other people, you develop friends over time, and
yeah.
it's a great way to be.
Well, and it's as you were saying that, I was thinking about how, you and I got to know each other. No, and I remember where we met. We met when I came to a LinkedIn roundtable at Prometheus,
Okay. Yeah.
back in the Rainmakers days.
Yeah.
And we got to know each other fairly well. And like I said, we had lunch on a semi-regular basis. And then we kind of, there was a couple of years, probably, and maybe like so many other things, COVID was a great disruptor of that. Um, and
For
we
sure.
had not talked to each other in some time. And then it just shows that the people show up at just the right time in your life. Um, you and I both happen to be waiting for people for meetings at Just Love Coffee after
Yeah.
not having seen each other for about 4 years.
Yeah. Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just that was absolutely nothing pre-planned, but you know, because we'd put all the time in back in the past, it it was an instant reconnect.
Yeah,
Mhm.
those moments together, it's like a little friendship bank account.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny.
Well,
Well,
is it?
and TJ and I are going meeting for coffee tomorrow.
Yep.
So
Yes.
Well,
it's
was
And
yeah, Landon.
oh,
so it's like uploading things to the cloud, kind of. It's always on the cloud. So if you get a new device or computer or something, it's still always there. So reloads.
Yep,
mhm.
yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Amber, you got a
Well,
Ben, do
question?
you have a question?
I
Oh,
have a question. I just have 5 minutes to leave.
Yeah.
So when COVID happened, my mom's side, my mom's mom, wait, no, actually, my mom's dad. She called my mom to take like some kind of like medicine or something, and if we took that, I wouldn't be here. Well, I'm so glad we took that medicine. Well, guess what? Can you guess how many years we haven't seen my mom's parents?
Hmm.
Can you guess? Can you
Yeah,
guess how many
I
years?
think we all can guess. Yeah, probably back to COVID, right?
4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was terrible. But luckily, I talked to them. I talked to them when it was my 14th birthday.
Mm.
That's great. So
That's
yeah, some of the old memories, it was money in the bank, right,
yeah.
Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Speaking of, you hinted at this a little while ago too, and I think this has a lot to do with how the network builds. I think TJ hinted at it, John hinted at it, and I forget who I originally heard this from. I say it might have been Stephen Covey, is the idea of the emotional bank account.
Mhm.
That you always got to be making deposits into the emotional bank account, and the other person's keeping a ledger on you. And if they think that you're making more withdrawals from your account than you're making deposits, um, that's going to strain the relationship. And you always want to have a positive balance in that emotional bank account with the other person.
Hmm.
Yeah, Jim,
Uh,
that's from John Gottman, a world-renowned psychologist that specializes in marriage, and that's one of
mm,
his key components to vitality and longevity of a long-term relationship.
which is exactly what we're talking about.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
So, speaking of COVID, how did you guys network during COVID, or did you at all?
I so right before COVID started, there was an insurance agent I didn't know that reached out to me and asked if I'd be interested in a Zoom meeting. I had never done a Zoom meeting before, and so I'm like, you know what? Let me try this out. And so I did it, and it was very easy. And so back then, I was in the mortgage world, and in early COVID, people loved Zoom meetings. They
Yep.
couldn't get enough of them.
Hmm.
And so I was able to network with a bunch of realtors. People were stuck in their house. They wanted something to do. Probably about 9 to 12 months down the road, people were sick of Zoom meetings, but they stuck around.
Mm.
So I was in another networking group and we met by Zoom. Um, and it's really difficult. It's okay to have like a one-on-one meeting on occasion, but I think I'm the type of person where I still want to get out and meet people, and you get to spend a little bit more time with them. But during COVID, Zoom was absolute resource, and a lot of people used it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
life.
sense is Zoom's much better for transactions than it is relationships.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
It is a nice, it's certainly better than nothing though, I would say.
Yeah.
Like it's I'm like you guys. It sounds like all other things being equal, we all would prefer to kind of meet in person. But sometimes a quick check-in over Zoom it's kind of nice.
Yeah,
Keeps the
we're
relationship going.
we're hardwired for a connection.
Yeah.
Usually, shoulder to shoulder per se, but this is a good pseudo way to connect. But I agree with you, Jim, that it is transactional and the human being in the same room. We're hardwired that way.
Yep.
Hmm.
Sure, for sure. For Landon and Lewis, I want to take a moment to challenge you guys. And so, Landon, I'm going to start with you, and Lewis, I'll ask the same question. I I surmise, I don't know this for sure, but I'm betting that you already, through your own connections, you have
Very well, guys.
Okay, see you, Ben.
See you, Ben.
Through
Hey, Ben.
your own connections, you have access to some pretty amazing people. So I'm going to challenge you, Landon. Like through your connections, can you think of someone you you already have a network that's pretty cool? Who are
No.
you coming up with?
Ed Carpenter, if you guys know him, he's a race car driver. He drives for
Mm-hmm.
Indy 500. I know his son. His son goes to my school. And do you guys know who Jack Doyle is? He played for the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
He's
Mm-hmm.
my gym teacher.
Oh, cool.
I know. Let's see. I have a now it's my dad's friendship, but it's like partially mine. The you guys know who the Notre Dame head football coach is?
Marcus Freeman.
Yup, I have a signed mini helmet up of him up in my room, off of my dad's job. I know, I know somebody who, let's see, I know a lot about the mechanics industry and engineering out of one of my friends, and I know a lot about let's see nutrition because of that same guy.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Very interesting. All right. So I mean, my gosh, Ed Carpenter, who's probably going to be in the Indy 500 again, coming up. That's pretty cool. Lewis, all right, it's your turn.
You better
Yeah,
start with your dad there, young man.
yeah. He's definitely a huge, just great resource to pick knowledge from. But Dan Rosenaw is the head guy for the restoration team at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He he was a huge part of the museum restoration, and I've worked for him part time. I go every Monday to their shop and I help around. And some of the stuff in the museum I actually built because of my connection with him.
Cool.
But I know him and all the other guys that work there. There's like around 8 of them. I know all of them pretty well. There's a guy I just met maybe 2 to 3 weeks ago. His name's Tim Walker. He owns a recording studio in Broad Ripple. He's got I think he said in almost every reality TV show, one of his tracks that was recorded in that studio is like in that show. So that's pretty crazy. He's like a big time recording company. And then let's see. Well, Denver Abernathy, that he co-owns a business, is a great, knowledge. My uncle Kerry, he's one of the best networkers I've ever met. This guy, he he doesn't even when he needs a job, he doesn't even look for a job. Like he just texts his friends. He's like, "Hey, preferably if I could get into like sales, it's something will crop
Mm-hmm.
up eventually." It's great, and that's kind of it for the huge connections.
TJ, did you ever know my brother Kerry?
By reputation, Tony, but not,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
no.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we moved. TJ and I went to Benton Academy in Lisle, Illinois.
Lizzle.
We right after right after Terry and I graduated, my family moved to Connecticut for a little bit. So,
Why
yeah,
Connecticut?
my dad had a job out there. Probably someone he knew.
Mm-hmm.
Kidding. But yeah, Carrie's a tremendous networker. And what about here's a question for you guys. Again, because we have young ears here, knowing what you know now, if you could kind of start over, knowing what you know about networking and relationships, what would you do differently starting in childhood?
I can answer that really succinctly. Don't be afraid to ask for what you want, and don't be afraid to give what you can.
Very nice. Very nice.
And
I
I think
would,
go ahead, John.
I would say don't be afraid to ask others for advice on whether it be in like a career or how to do something, because people are always willing to help others out, especially
Hmm.
younger people. I mean, that's why the three of us are on this call today. I'm sure I can't speak for them, but we
Nope.
want to help people become better versions of themselves and help them develop networking, whether it be through their career, through their friends. And so don't ever hesitate to ask for help.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think for me it would be I was the classic introvert when I was growing up. I was an only child, and I was perfectly content staying in my room reading all evening. Um, it would be just to have gone out and started building relationships earlier in life. Uh,
So my fault, Jim. You can go ahead
oh,
and
go ahead,
continue what you
Landon.
were saying. So TJ,
Yeah.
when you were saying to ask for what you like, don't be afraid to ask for what you need, but give more than that. I heard a quote, I can't remember who said it. It was be more of a spout, not more of a drain. As
Well
in
said.
give more than you
Mm-hmm.
take.
I love
Yep.
it.
So
Yeah.
is this
Yeah.
pretty much what like networking is? You want to give more to people than what
Yep.
you take from them?
Yeah. And,
Absolutely.
when I help out people in a variety of ways, career, personal, whatever that looks like, and I do that pretty generously, the people I remember do something that separates them from the pack. They thank me in a meaningful way,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because they've gotten to know me and they know some animating passion or something I really enjoy. And they, provide a small gift or a note card, and I have boxes full of that kind of stuff. So it seems like everyone's from the Indianapolis area, and I'll mention a name to give you the power of networking. Gene B. Glick. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
know who he was, the builder, he ran apartments, and I knew him given what I do for a living. And he taught me at a relatively young age, in my late 20s, the power of a personal note. And
Mm-hmm.
if he learned of something that I did that was, positive for the organization I was working at the time, he would send me a personal note. And I still have those 25 plus years later. But
Yeah.
that people will remember, I don't know who said it, but it's a famous author. People will remember not what you said, but how you made them feel. And
Yeah.
so me expending energy in my own relational capital to help people out, and then for them to send a personal note, they'll be
Yeah.
forever burned in my memory.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, and I've got these note cards that I don't use as religiously as I used to, but I used to every time I'd meet somebody, I'd send them one of those, and it's amazing what an impression that makes because they'll tell me nobody else did that.
Yeah, in a digital world, a personal note carries a lot of gravitas, a lot of weight,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
For
Yes.
sure. Yeah.
Well, if I could make a little observation here, I've just noticed in the kind of the last 10 minutes, maybe not quite that long. This conversation has taken about a 60-degree turn to the right. In that, we started out doing the typical thing you start with talking about networking and talking about going to events. And now we're talking about the real heavy lifting of it on the one-to-one building relationships with people and just people you randomly meet along the road without, and you can network just as much without or build it. Again, there's the confusion I talked about right out of the gate, the difference between networking and building a network. Now we're really talking about building a network.
Yeah, for
Mm.
sure. I wanted to expand and kind of make a distinction or give some food for thought for these guys. Um, we talked a lot about, give more than you receive, always go the extra mile. do your very best. I want to give a real life example of why that's so important, or it's such a valuable way to be. So, as I said earlier, I'm going to be having a coffee with my old classmate TJ McGovern tomorrow in Fishers, and I'm going to make an introduction for him tomorrow. I'm going to introduce him. Uh, I get probably before or after that coffee to someone he doesn't know. But it's someone who I've known for a very long time, and I have this feeling that the two of them are just going to be very good contacts for each other. I just have that feeling,
Mm,
and um, I want to make the point that when I make an introduction for someone else, when I meet someone who wants, or it seems like maybe they're lost with their retirement planning, and I say, you know what, you've got to meet Jim Patton. Let me put you in touch with him. What a great guy. What the reason I do that, kind of like let's say the instinctual part of my brain that makes me want to do that, make the introduction, is because I'm going to kind of gain status or value for
mm,
this person. It sounds selfish, but that's just how we're wired.
yep.
I believe that introducing this person to Jim Patton for this particular like retirement need, that's going to actually give me more status and value. My
Hmm.
goodness, Tony is such a useful guy. He knows such great people. And so I've thought for years that this is how kind of referrals and introductions work.
Hmm.
And the person I'm going to introduce Mr. McGovern to is he's actually been in one of our Zooms recently. Andy Hevlin, do you guys remember the comic book collector?
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's Andy's. That's just a hobby of his.
Did he
Um,
work in a printing business for a zillion years?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But
God, speaking of
he,
connected, I remember Andy now.
yeah, yeah. And I think Andy has a lot of good connections that TJ would benefit from, and I'm sure vice versa. But getting back to going the extra mile, doing more. One of the reasons that I'm actually excited to uh, introduce TJ to Andy is because Andy is such a he's such a just giving person. He's one of these like he would just bend over backwards for anybody. I'll tell you a story. Jim mentioned LinkedIn roundtables in our office at Prometheus, and actually, Lewis, that's the room you're in now, and is where this meeting was held. Well, Andy Hevlin attended the meeting. I already knew Andy, had known Andy, but he attended the meeting there in Prometheus in that room. And on his way out, Andy noticed that the door didn't have a little cushion for the doorknob. The doorknob was hitting the
Hmm.
drywall. There's like French doors in that room that's Lewis is in. He didn't say anything. He just noticed it. And then the next time, I think the next month or next time he was at a meeting at Prometheus, he approached me. He said, "Hey, I noticed that doorknob is hitting the wall," and he said, "I got a few options for putting and he brought them with him. These cushions. He said, "Which one do you want to try?" So there was like a square one, there was a round one. I said, "Are you kidding me? My goodness, thank you very much. Let's try the
Hmm.
round one." That's the kind of guy Andy is, and it's not some calculating. But this
Hmm.
is this is why we say just do your best. Always look to help someone else, because I think maybe this is how karma works. This is how
Yeah.
this is why being a good person and just helping others, why it comes back to you.
As the Hindus would say, if you're nice to people, you'll get good karma. If you're bad to people, you'll get bad karma.
Yep.
That's how it works to them.
There you go. There you go. Normally, one of our kids, David, he always likes to ask the final question. Jim's
I'll do
probably
it.
already. Oh, okay, Landon, go for it.
Okay, so I had this question in my head the entire time, but I was waiting for the right moment to ask. So it's a two-part question. Number one, what is your best advice to anybody who's trying to make friends, just like our age or younger? Number two, what is one quote or piece of advice that you would give to anybody in the world right now?
TJ, you want to go first?
Sure. The first question, very good question, is be yourself. Everyone else is taken.
Mhm.
And the answer to your second question, can you reiterate that one more time, the second question, just to make sure I get it right?
What is one quote that you would tell anybody in the world right now?
In other words, like it's not a quote from someone else. What's kind of a piece of advice? What's the one thing you would tell someone, not even just about networking, just piece of life advice?
Yeah. Patient persistence. Pick out your purpose and take daily action to achieve it.
Very nice. John, how about you?
The quote would be faith, hope, and charity. Always have those three things in your life. Always have faith, never lose hope, and be charitable to others. And in terms of making friends at your age, boy, that's a tough one. Just be yourself. Some people are going to like it, some people aren't. If they don't like it, move on
Yep.
to another friend.
Mr.
Jim?
Patton?
Jim,
I'm not sure I'm going to be quite as profound as those guys were, but
Anything
how,
works.
how to make good friends is ask good questions. Ask good questions to get to who the other person is. Tony, you mentioned that Andy's a great comic book collector. That's the kind of thing you'd be like, hey, dude, what do you do what do you find is fun for you, or something like that, and then get the other person talking about himself. And then after a while, they'll say, boy, you were a really great conversationalist. And you'll say, well, hell, I never said a word. I just let you talk. Uh, and then file it all away so that you remember that. And I guess for a quote, just shut up and listen.
Amen.
Very nice. Well, you guys are all so kind to share your time with us. And it's been super fun. TJ, I'll see you tomorrow.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
And anyway, well, thank you again, guys. Jim, we gotta get back on the lunch
We do.
bandwagon, I think.
We're due.
Yeah.
Tony.
John and I we're in a good groove with poker.
Yep.
TJ and Jim, do you guys we don't play with real money. It's all fake funny money. We just do it for fun. Either of you guys poker players?
Yeah, I'd love
No,
to.
Really? Okay. That is great to know. All right. I'll put you on the
I know
list.
you've invited me before. It's just sometimes schedule, but
Yeah.
I would enjoy that. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr.
Awesome.
Tony, we should do a video of us kids playing poker together with like fake money, like
No,
Monopoly money.
with real money. See what your parents say about that.
I'm
would
broke.
that be
I can't play that.
would that
I'm
be
broke.
one
I
you'd
can't play
hang?
that.
Would that be one you'd frame and hang on the fire above the fireplace like the dogs playing poker?
Exactly.
Let's go all the way and just have them instead of poker chips, let's just use cigarettes. Let's go that far. Well, listen, thank you guys. Great to spend time with you all, everybody. And I know for myself, I learned a ton tonight. This was a super
Absolutely.
good conversation.